Hi dancers, welcome to SKR Yoga and Wellness. My name is Sam and today we're doing a class to help you get a better arabesque. So we're going to focus a lot on back strength from the middle back, including the upper back, lats and shoulder blades, all of that good stuff, as well as trying to gain a little bit more spinal flexibility to get that arabesque up even higher. So we're going to get started and jump right in by coming onto all fours. So bringing your palms under your shoulders, knees right underneath your hips. And we're going to start with some rounds of cat and cow. So on an inhale, letting your back arch, tailbone and crown of the head towards the ceiling. And then on an exhale, curving the spine, looking in towards your belly button. And again, inhale, looking up and arching. Exhale, curve. We'll do 3 more just like this, following the flow of your own inhale and exhale. Trying to find the maximum range of motion in both directions here. Really waking up the spine. Trying to access each and every vertebra. And once you finish your last one, come to a neutral spine. So keeping your core engaged, belly button pulling in towards your lower back, and then spine is nice and long from the crown of your head all the way through to your tailbone here. You're gonna lift your right arm and your left leg up to meet this tabletop position, and as we do that, do not let anything change with the abs. Keep your thumb pointing towards the ceiling, and then float that hand and foot back down to the mat. And then same thing, left arm, right leg, thumb up, keeping the core nice and engaged. Don't let the lower back arch. And back down. Switching sides, right arm, left leg up, keep the core engaged. And down. And as we do this, dancers, make sure that your back leg is not turning out at all. So you want to keep your heel pointing straight towards the ceiling. We're focusing on engaging the glutes and the hamstrings a little bit here. So keep that leg fully turned in. It might feel that you're turning in a little bit too much because we're used to standing in such a turned out position. But really focus in. Keep that heel and thumb straight towards the ceiling. And this will be our last one here. Left arm and right leg up. And then from here, float the left hand down, but keep that leg up. We're gonna flex the foot and bend the knee. Again, try and keep it parallel so it does not open up to an attitude position. Keeping the knee facing towards the floor, and then we're just gonna pulse. Like you're trying to put a footprint on the ceiling here. And just pulsing that leg, that foot up towards the ceiling. It doesn't need to be a very large movement, but you will feel it burn in your hamstring. It doesn't take long. We'll take 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the last one, point through that foot, transfer your weight into your right hand, and we're gonna reach the left leg, left arm back to grab your right foot, and then just finding a little bit of a stretch here. So you can put a bit of pressure between your foot and your hand. Kick your foot into your hand slightly, just to open up the chest. You might feel a stretch in your quad as well. Really opening up, and we will release. And we're gonna go right away to the left side. So flexing and lifting into your left foot now. Same thing, we have 20 pulses here, trying as if you're trying to put a footprint on the ceiling. Make sure your core is still engaged. Belly button pulling in towards your spine. I've lost count, but we'll do 10 more from here. 10, 9, 8, still breathing. 6, 5, 4, keeping that parallel position. And last one, pointing through that foot. Keep the left hand planted. Right hand reaches behind you, grabbing that foot. Kick your foot slightly into your hand. Feeling that stretch through the front of your chest, into your left quad. Just opening up the back. Maybe lifting it a little bit higher. And from here, release gently back down to the mat. Bring your toes together, knees apart, and take your hips down into a child's pose. So really just let your forehead melt into the mat. Allow your hips to sink towards your heels. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. Slowly lift your forehead off the mat. Transfer your weight forward. We're gonna tuck the toes and come right away into downward dog. So make sure your feet are hip width distance apart. Hands are shoulder width distance apart. And let's start by just paddling through the feet. Shake your head out, yes and no. Slide your shoulder blades down your back and then settle both heels, reaching towards the floor. Tailbone and crown of the head reaching in opposite directions. And we'll jump right into our first flow, lifting your right leg up, bending the knee over towards your left glute, and just opening up that hip. And from here, let's take 3 circles towards the outside. So coming outside first, then in towards your chest, re-extending. Last one. Once you've re-extended that knee, let's reverse the circle, 3 circles the other way. Just trying to wake up that hip, really lubricating it. Last one. Now from here, maintain this turned out position and extend your top leg up towards the sky. So your back leg is in an arabesque here. And then from here, we're gonna turn in that hip, lowering the leg slightly so that we can find a true parallel position. And from here, open it up, feel your turn out once again to find that arabesque, and then turn that foot in so your knee and toes are towards the floor. Twice more, pushing into turnout, finding a little bit more of a split, and then turning it in. Last time, feeling that turnout muscle from the glute, opening it up, finding that height, and then swing the leg through. Foot in between the palms, you can lower your back knee. Arms come off the mat right away, right beside your ears to find a low lunge. Make sure your knee is right on top of your ankle here. And try to keep your core engaged, so belly button is still pulling in towards your center. And there is still a little bit of a connection between your inner thighs. So we're not just spilling into this stretch. And you also want to make sure that your left hip is also rotating forward, so we're totally square to the front of the mat, and we're not turned out or open in this hip at all, but we're totally square, shoulders stacked right on top of those square hips. And from here, you're gonna float the right arm down to grab the back of your left thigh and reach towards the opposite corner. So just intensifying the stretch in the front of your left hip here a little bit. Keeping that reach through your left hand. Breathing deeply here. Keeping that core nice and strong. And then from here, float the right arm all the way back up. Bring both hands down on the inside of your right foot. We're gonna lift the toes and turn out the front leg. So your front leg is turned out, and then from here, lowering all the way down onto your elbows, finding the lizard pose. Just relaxing into that right hip, opening it up. We'll take 2 more breaths. And now from here, you're gonna keep the weight in your elbows, and we're just gonna transition, sliding that right foot out, coming behind you to meet the left. And now you're gonna turn your right forearm at about a 45-degree angle, keeping that shoulder away from your ear, so continuing to push down into the floor to find length in your upper body. Bend into your left knee, grab a hold of that foot, and just lightly pull it in towards your glute. So we're finding a quad stretch on the left side here. If you feel any pinching in your lower back, maybe ease off the stretch a little bit. So don't worry so much about bringing that foot all the way to your glute, even if that's something you can do while you're standing. We're just trying to find the stretch, the sensation in the front of your leg. More about how it feels rather than what it looks like, contrary to what we usually try to achieve in dance class. And we'll release that foot softly back down onto the mat, and you're gonna lower all the way down. So release those arms and extend them out in front of you here. Thumbs are facing towards the ceiling. Neck is long, so nose is straight towards the ground. We're going to bring your heels all the way together. And again, make sure here that you're in a truly turned in position. So we're parallel, not turned out here. So heels facing towards the ceiling, neck is long. On an inhale, we're going to lift just the upper body up off of the mat. So just your rib cage and reaching those arms right beside your ears, and then lowering back down onto the mat. We're gonna repeat that 4 more times. So on an inhale, lifting up, exhale, back down. Inhale, lifting up, exhale, back down. Twice here. Inhale, up, exhale, down, and inhale, and exhale. You can place your hands underneath your forehead. We're going to do that same thing with the legs. So inhale, lifting up, try to keep those feet together as much as you can. Exhale, back down. Inhale, lift, exhale, down. Inhale, lift, exhale, down. Inhale, and exhale. We'll do 1 more here. Keep that core nice and strong as we do this. And extend your arms and legs. As we do this, you can allow your feet to separate ever so slightly, but keep them no wider than hip width distance apart, so we don't want them to get too wide here. So neck is long. We're going to inhale up, lifting your legs and your arms together. We'll hold here for a few breaths. So push to find height. Breathe into your belly against the mat. And release back down. We're going to repeat that once more. Inhale, extend. Fight for another inch of height on our last breath. And release. Bring your forearms in towards you. Just allow your spine to arch, relaxing into Sphinx Pose here, making sure that your shoulders are down away from your ears, so we're still pushing the elbows into the mat, finding a long neck, breathing deeply. And from here, tuck the toes, leave your forearms where they are. We're coming up into Dolphin Pose. So lifting your hips, engage the core, and walk your hands in towards your elbows. I'm just gonna readjust my hands slightly so they're back on the mat. But this is basically like downward dog, just with your forearms down on the floor. So try to find that same sensation of a long spine, heels reaching towards the mat. And we're gonna fire up the core a little bit here. So coming forward into a little bit of a forearm plank. You might not get all the way down, and then we're gonna shift back into dolphin. So coming forward again, dropping the hips forward, and back. 3 more times. Forward, engage the core, shoulder blades sliding down your back. Twice more. Forward, and back. Last one. And back. And from here, prop yourself up onto your palms. Maybe walk your feet out finding plank, and we're gonna flow from here. So chaturanga all the way down. Inhale to upward dog or cobra. And then exhale, sending the hips back, finding your full downward dog. We'll take a few breaths here, recentering ourselves after that fairly long sequence. 3 more breaths. Notice how your spine feels after all of that work. And we'll go ahead and repeat that now on the left side. So left leg reaches up and then bending into that knee, opening up your hip. Feeling that heel reaching towards your right glute. We'll take 3 outward circles, so coming outside, then into your chest, re-extending up. Another circle, waking up that left hip now. And when you finish your 3rd circle, we reverse, just going the other way. And when you finish your last one, extend that leg all the way up behind you, finding a turned out position. So we're in an arabesque here. And then let that leg turn in, and it'll lower slightly. So your knee and foot are pointing right towards the floor, and then open up, turning out from the glutes, and then back to parallel, and opening up, back to parallel. Last time, opening up, and swinging that left leg through, finding low lunge, let the knee drop, coming all the way up, arms right beside your ears. Keeping the core engaged, hips nice and square, just like we did on the first side. Maintaining that deep breathing. Keep those arms reaching up above you. And we'll take this into our side stretch. So bringing the left hand onto your right thigh, reaching towards the back corner. Finding that intensified stretch in the front of your right hip flexor. Still keeping the core nice and strong. Inner thighs are engaged to help you balance. And from here, we'll bring the left arm up to meet the right before letting both palms float down on the inside of your left leg, lifting the toes, turning out your left foot, knee still right on top of your toes as we lower right down onto your elbows. And if the floor feels too far away here, you can always place a pillow or a block underneath those elbows. And you can also stay on your palms if you feel that stretch here. But if you'd like to intensify it, getting a little bit deeper, elbows is always a good choice. And as always, just breathing. This is one of my favorite stretches to just relax into and kind of let gravity do most of the work here. Taking 2 more breaths. And keeping your weight in your elbows, we're transitioning onto our stomach. So let the left leg sweep around behind you. And you're gonna bring your left forearm now to a 45-degree angle, pushing the floor away from you, keeping that shoulder away from your ear, and then bending into your right leg, finding your quad stretch, this time on the right leg. Kind of similar to Tiger Pose, which is what we did at the beginning of class during warm-up, but now we're just all the way down on the floor. Breathing into it. Remembering that if you feel any pinching in your lower back, to ease off the stretch a little bit, maybe don't push quite so far. Breathing into your belly. And we will slowly release that leg back down onto the mat. And this time, rather than repeating the sequence that we did on the first side, you're going to bend into both legs, grabbing a hold of the outside of both ankles. And from here, we're coming into bow pose or Dharmasana. So from here, kicking your legs in towards your palms, and then allowing that force to lift your upper body and your knees up off the floor. So similar to what we did in locust pose on the floor, try to make sure that your knees are not splaying out too far, so they're not too wide, keeping them as close to hip width distance as you possibly can. And then from here we'll release. Don't release your ankles just yet. We're gonna come into it one more time, just giving the spine a little bit of a break. Take one more breath here, and then once again, kicking into your hands to lift your legs and upper body up off the mat. And just breathe into your belly, the only part of your body still fully in contact with the floor here. So really feel that breath against your mat. And then you will slowly release your hands. Once again, finding Sphinx Pose. So just resting up on top of your forearms here, allowing your back to naturally arch, keeping the shoulders away from your ears. And just like we did on the first side, we will repeat this, tucking your toes and lifting on up into Dolphin Pose. So walking your feet in until you find a comfortable position, basically like downward dog, with your forearms on the floor. And feeling those shoulder blades supporting you. Try to push down into the mat with your fingers. So we're creating a little bit of force there. And then from here, shifting forward, send the hips down, almost finding a plank, and then send the weight back into Dolphin. We're repeating that 4 times. Forward, into the shoulders, and then pushing back into Dolphin. 3 more times. Forward, keeping the core nice and strong. We're firing up that center, which is also something we need for a nice strong arabesque. And pushing back. And from here, prop up onto your left palm, right palm, find plank position first, and then we will lower down into chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then right away, release the knees onto the mat. Keep your knees together this time. Arms will stay behind you, and we'll just lower into child's pose. We'll take about 10 breaths here. Just really allow the spine to curve over your legs. Let your hips melt towards your heels. Breathing deeply into your belly. Allowing your heart rate to return to normal. Slowly start to roll yourself back up to a seated position. And before we go on to our next flow, we're going to do one little exercise for the spine. So coming back onto all fours, just like we were at the beginning of class, keeping your core engaged, long neutral spine. Bring your right hand beside your right ear, just kind of place it on the back of your head. On an inhale, you're going to lift the elbow up and just try to twist from the center of your back here through your thoracic spine. And then on an exhale, bringing that elbow back in towards your left arm. And then inhale, push into your left hand, find that twist. And then exhale, coming back in. Inhale, all the way up. So we really are trying to twist from the middle of your spine here. We're going to do 2 more. So your hips and lower back stay relatively the same, and the twist is really coming from the center of your spine. On this last rotation here, let's extend the right arm up towards the sky, and then on the exhale, scoop that arm all the way down onto the mat and lower your right ear all the way down. So we're opening up the space in between the shoulder blades. You can keep your left palm where it is. Place that hand behind your back, wrapping towards your right thigh, or you can extend that arm onto your left fingertips, up overhead. This is my favorite variation here with the arm extended, but you can choose whatever variation works best for you, where you feel that stretch most. And from here, we'll bring the left palm back down into the floor, and then on an inhale, pushing into that palm to re-extend that arm. Notice if you can find a little bit more rotation, and then place that right hand back down onto the mat. We're gonna go right away to the second side. Left hand onto your head, inhale up to twist, and exhale towards your arm. Inhaling up. Again, keeping the core engaged, really finding the twist from the center of your spine. Inhaling up, exhale to twist, 2 more. Inhaling up, exhale. And on this last one here, inhale and re-extend that left arm all the way up towards the sky. And then on your exhale, scoop that arm all the way to the floor, right ear down into the mat. And then again, find the variation with your right palm that works best for you. We'll take another 3 breaths here. Make sure that your hips are right on top of your knees here. You're really making a 90-degree angle. And it is very tempting to let your abs kind of release in this posture, but try to keep them engaged. Keep that belly button pulling in to protect your lower back. And we'll bring the right palm back down underneath you, pushing into that palm to re-extend that left arm. And bringing both hands onto the mat, finding downward dog. So tuck your toes, coming back to this nice elongated position. And from here, looking between your hands, walk your feet forward. Inhale, find a halfway lift with a flat back. Exhale to fold forward over top of your shins. And then inhale, push into your feet to stand, arms reach all the way up and over, palms come to touch. And on an exhale, bringing those palms in front of your chest here. So we're going to lift your left leg, left knee up into your palms. And from here, I'd like you to push your knee in towards your palms. So as if you're trying to push that foot away from you and that knee away from you, but your arms are not letting it release back down to the floor. So we're finding a little bit of a dynamic action here. And then let's release that and really pull the knee back in towards your chest. And then we're going to do that same thing, pushing the knee away from you. This will just help release the lower back a little bit. And then again, pulling that knee in towards you, releasing, letting that push go. Now flex into your left foot, cross it over top of your right thigh, hands come together in front of the chest, and then we're just gonna send the hips back, keeping the spine nice and long here, so tail and crown in opposite directions. Make sure you can still see the toes of your right foot. Left foot stays flexed, and you should feel a bit of a stretch in your left glute here. This is standing pigeon. This is a variation you can do on the floor, but just for this flow, it felt better to do it standing. And you'll push into your right foot to come back to stand. Lift that knee one more time, and then we're going to extend it back, grabbing a hold of the inside of that right ankle. So not on the outside, from the inside this time. Keeping that ankle nice and stretched. Right arm stays parallel to the floor. Similar to what we did in bow pose on the floor, you're going to kick into your left hand to lift that leg all the way up. Woo! Totally okay if you lose your balance. It obviously happens to me sometimes, but no matter where you're at, just getting back into it, recentering yourself. Breathing. Try to keep your chest lifted, so we're not parallel to the floor here, but your chest is still reaching towards the front of you. Arms parallel to the floor. We're lifting through that back leg, keeping the knee parallel. And we'll bring that leg back into your chest and float it back down onto the mat. You're gonna inhale to lift your right arm up overhead, and then on an exhale, just bending from the waist, keep your hips where they are, and just coming into a side bend. Just recentering yourself, feeling both legs on the floor once more. And on your next inhale, coming all the way back up to stand. We have a little bit more balancing to do on that right leg. So bringing your hands together in front of your chest, lifting that knee once again. And then on an exhale, kick that leg back to find Warrior 3. Now, just like what we practiced at the beginning of class, you want to keep your knee and your toes pointing straight down towards the floor. Hip is parallel, and we want to keep both hips square towards the floor, so we're not in an arabesque position here. Keeping your arms in front of your chest. 2 more breaths. Feeling your core engaged, belly button pulling in towards your spine. And then we'll release down, finding standing splits or needle position here. So now you can allow that back leg to turn out, reaching up behind you, finding your standing splits. And then on an exhale, we're gonna bend into both knees and cross them. So your left knee is crossing behind your right, and then push into your leg to come all the way back up to your standing split. We're gonna do that twice more. Exhale to bend. Inhale, push to stand, relaxing your neck. Inhale, or sorry, exhale, crossing. Inhale, push to stand. Find your full extension, find a little bit more height. And then once again, coming into this cross, and you're gonna sit all the way down onto the floor. Right foot is now crossed over your left knee. Inhale your left arm up. Exhale to cross it over your right knee. And find a twist. So we're twisting towards the back corner of your mat. Make sure you're sitting on top of both sit bones. Spine is nice and long. And on an exhale, unwind. Twist towards the opposite side. You're gonna place your hands behind you and continue that twist till we find a downward dog facing the back of your mat now. We'll take about 5 breaths here. Settling in, allowing the heels to relax towards the mat, finding that long spine. And we're gonna flow through to stand, so looking between the palms, walk the feet in. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, push to stand. Arms come all the way up overhead, palms to touch. Exhale, hands come down in front of your chest. We're repeating that sequence on the second side. So now lifting the left leg, or sorry, the right leg up. Pull it in towards your chest to start, and then finding that same push. So pushing into your hands are resisting, releasing into the lower back. And then on an exhale, let that push go. Pull into your knee into your chest, that is. And then once again, pushing that leg into your hands, releasing into the lower back. And then on an exhale, pull the knee in closer to you. You might find it a little bit tricky to balance as we transfer in and out of that push and pull, but not to worry. Just find yourself back in the position. And we're gonna flex the right foot, cross it over top of your left thigh, hands come together in front of your chest, and then sending the hips back, finding standing pigeon on the second side. Left foot is grounded into the floor. Spine is nice and long. Feeling that stretch into your right glute. Core is engaged. And from here, push into your left leg to stand, lifting that knee up. Extend your left arm out parallel to the floor in front of you, and then grab a hold of the inside of your foot on your right foot here, and then you're going to kick into that hand to lift on up, finding dancer's pose. Keep that left foot rooted into the floor. And if you wobble or fall out of it, don't worry, just find your way back into the pose. Always reminding yourself that this is a practice, not a destination. So we're always trying to get better. Just being thankful for where we're at today. Just having this opportunity to balance. And we'll bring that foot all the way back into your chest. Place it down onto the mat. Inhaling your left arm up overhead. Exhaling to find a side bend. Releasing into the left side of your abdomen here. You can allow your right hand to just relax on the side of your leg. Trying to really bend from your waist so your hips are stable. And on your next inhale, coming all the way up to stand, we're going to lift that right leg once more, coming into our warrior three. Hands, we're going to try that again. Lifting up, coming back. Hands are in front of your chest. Finding that parallel position with your back leg. Your supporting leg does not need to be fully stretched here. You can have a micro bend in that left knee. Make sure that left leg stays rooted into the floor. We'll take 2 more breaths here, keeping that back leg fully parallel. Toes are pointing towards the mat here. And we'll exhale, allowing that back leg to turn out and finding your standing split or needle position here. On an exhale, bending the knees, crossing them. Inhale, pushing into that left leg back into your standing split. Exhale, release. Inhale, back up. Exhale, release. Inhale, back up. Exhale. And then this time coming all the way down. Might need to readjust slightly so you're fully on your mat. Left leg is crossed over your right. Keep the whole sole of your left foot on the floor as we inhale the right arm up. Exhale to cross. And finding your seated twist. You might feel a little bit of a stretch in your left glute here as well. So breathing deeply into your abdomen. Feel that twist coming from the center of your back. And you will exhale, twist the other way, placing your hands behind you, continuing through with that twist until we find downward dog again, facing the first side of our mat once more. And we'll take a couple breaths here to just notice how you feel, notice how your spine feels, how your hamstrings and your legs feel and your glutes. Notice how close your heels are towards the mat. And from here, we'll lower the knees back down. We'll take a wide-legged child's pose again, so toes together, knees apart, relaxing your forehead down onto the mat. We won't be here for too long. Slowly start to sit back up, roll over through your spine, and we'll come all the way down onto the mat, swinging both of your legs out in front of you. Take your left leg, bend it in so the sole of your left foot is against the inner right thigh, sitting on both of your sit bones. Inhale to reach both arms all the way up towards the ceiling, And then exhale, folding forwards. Grab a hold of whatever you can around that right foot. And then let's curve the spine today, just releasing into this forward fold. Really let your neck relax and let the weight of your head pull you farther into the stretch. And if you'd like to intensify the stretch a little bit more, you can always place a block on the outside of your foot here and grab a hold of that block instead of your foot, just to find a little bit more length, but totally up to you. I unfortunately forgot my blocks at home today, so just going to do the standard version for you. But wherever you feel this, maybe more through your hamstring or maybe through your back or your spine, just make sure you're trying to send breath and length and space into that area. And really releasing into the stretch as we start to cool down and wind down from that rather intense practice. And on the next inhale, reach your arms past your foot, come all the way back up to your seated position. And then we're gonna switch right away. So left leg forward, right foot on the inside of your left thigh. Inhaling to reach both arms up, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale to fold forward. Grabbing hold of whatever you can, maybe adding a block. Relaxing through the neck and just breathe. Breathing nice and deeply here. Allowing the weight of your head to pull you farther into this forward fold. Foot, inhaling to come all the way back up. And then we're gonna roll all the way down onto your back. You're gonna find reclined shoelace here. So taking your right leg, cross it over your left thigh, and then picking up both of your knees, flexing through the feet, grabbing a hold of the outside of your feet, and then just very gently pulling them a little bit closer to you here. So we're just targeting the glutes a little bit, feeling that stretch on the outside of your hips. This is also a really good stretch to do after a ballet class. Just try and release those turnout muscles that are working so hard. Give them a chance to relax. And from here, just release your left foot back down onto the mat, but keep your thighs crossed. Your arms can just come out to the side. You're gonna lift your hips over to the right ever so slightly, and then just allow your knees to fall towards the left. Try to keep both shoulders down on the floor here. We won't be here for too long. We're just finding this nice spinal twist. Allowing the knees to pull us into the twist. And we'll firm up the belly, bringing the knees back to center right away. Recenter your hips. And now this time crossing your left thigh over your right. And then grabbing a hold of the outside of your ankles and then softly pulling them in towards you. This is also a good stretch to do with a partner. If you have a friend that you can stretch with, they can just softly push your feet in closer towards you and also bring your knees a little bit closer to your chest. Just intensifies the stretch a little bit. Breathing into it. And we'll release the right leg this time back down onto the mat. Keeping your thighs crossed, shifting your hips to the left this time, and then allowing your knees to fall to the right, keeping that left shoulder flat on the mat. Feeling this twist, breathing into your low belly, into your belly button. And again, we won't be here for too long. So right away, let's firm up the belly, lifting the knees back up. The final couple poses we're going to do is shoulder stand. So this is something that is very different for everybody. Ideally, we're trying to find a straight line from your shoulders all the way to the tips of your toes. Something I am always working on because I don't have a lot of flexion in my upper spine. But you can always use a wall. You can walk your feet up a wall to help you, or you can also take bridge pose here, which is also a slight inversion that helps you to kind of wind down at the end of class. But if you're going into shoulder stand like me, you tuck your knees into your chest and then push into your hands to lift the hips up. Walking your hands down your back and then trying to extend your legs as best as you can up towards the ceiling. And if you find it hard to breathe here, maybe ease off a little bit. You can also relax your hips down so that your upper body is at about a 45-degree angle. You'll also find that has the same kind of calming effects as the full shoulder stand. And just breathing into your upper back, trying to keep the core engaged here to lengthen through your legs. If you'd like to take this further, you can extend your legs behind you into Plow Pose, clasping your hands and extending them down towards the mat. Trying as best as you can to maintain a long spine here. And if your hands were clasped, release them back onto the mat and very slowly allow your hips to roll back down onto the mat. And final pose, just to reverse that extreme flexion in the spine. You're going to stretch through your feet, keep your ankles together, keep energy reaching out through your back. Palms are flat on the mat beside you, pushing into the mat through your elbows to lift and place the top of your head on the mat, looking behind you. So this is fish pose. And keep all of your weight in your palms and your elbows. There shouldn't be any weight on top of your head here. And keep the energy reaching out through your toes. Breathing, feeling the throat opening up nice and wide, the chest opening up nice and wide. And we'll tuck the chin to come back to neutral and relaxing fully into Shavasana. So allowing those feet to open up, palms face towards the ceiling. Belly is relaxed. Just allow your entire body to sink farther and farther into the mat. Send your breath into your belly. Allow your belly to rise and fall with each inhale and exhale. So take a moment to appreciate all the hard work you just put into that class. Trying to achieve a better and stronger arabesque. So thank yourself for coming onto the mat today and practicing through yoga with the goal of finding that better arabesque position. We'll take another 10 breaths here. Just remind you to melt into your inhales and exhales, breathing into the belly. Be here for about a minute or so. to wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll through your ankles and your wrists. When you're ready, no rush, rolling onto your right side. Pushing yourself up into a seated position. Legs can be crossed or sitting on your heels. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart and bending forward. Namaste. Thank you so much, dancers, for doing this practice with me. I really hope this is a class you can add into your training routine to help you to get a better and stronger and longer arabesque. Please don't forget to like this video, and also please do subscribe to SKR Yoga and Wellness. I put up new videos specifically for dancers every single Friday, so don't miss out and be sure to hit that subscribe button. And that's all for today. Thank you again so much, and have a great rest of your day.